This component was built terribly and I have no idea what I was thinking when I built it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Webflow and Code, where I teach you the underlying code you're writing in Webflow. Now, it's no surprise to me that I don't exactly give you the most visual demonstrations of what the stuff we talk about on this channel. It's very theory, it's more code oriented than it is the design side of Webflow, which is why I'm happy to have something visual to show you, demonstrate what I mean when I spoke about the document outline, which is a video I done ages ago, but it really speaks to the document order and how important it is on the website. So let's dive right into that. This is the section we're going to be talking about today. And for all intents and purposes, this looks like an average kind of, you see them everywhere, a kind of pricing card that I have on my Flow State website. An easy way to show you why this is actually built terribly and incorrectly is that if we disable CSS, in fact, because this is done in Tailwind, we can actually just disable the JavaScript. What you'll see is a representation of the HTML and how the HTML has been laid out. And this is what an SEO spider will see. This is what a screen reader will see. This is what any kind of technology that relies on the document order or how your HTML is laid out, such as a browser, will actually read. And when you really take a look at it, you'll see that it does not really make any sense. We've got plans, makes sense. There's a heading, and then straight away we've got recommended here. And then we've got monthly. So I'm recommending the monthly, pause, cancel, and then there's the information there. Start now, book, call. So we're already seeing that recommended is there. And then we've got recommended quarterly. And then we've got the information there, which this pretty much isn't an issue here. And then we've got yearly here. And then you've got start now, book, call, start now, book, call, start now, book, call, start now, book, call. It doesn't really make any sense. Now, if I re-enable the JavaScript and we take a look at how this HTML has been laid out, we've got our wrapping section here, and then we've got something just to space it in the middle. We really get into the nitty-gritty here. So we've got our header, no problem. Then we've got 3 rows that break these areas up. And this is already what the problem is. Now, stylistically this works, but at the consequence of correct HTML structure. In this row, we have an empty div, we have recommended empty div. And then in the next row, we have our different pricing plans, different information there. And then in the final div, we just have a list of divs. The links aren't associated with their respective plan. Now, this is why it's a problem. And if we were to simply tab through here, we just go through the lists, which really you'd want to go read the monthly and then have those links. Then we'd go quarterly and then have those links. And this is what we mean by document order and how your content is laid out and why it's so important. So let's get practical. Let's bring it into Pinegrow just because it's easier to work within Pinegrow, but this is not a tutorial on Webflow or Pinegrow. This is just a visual representation of document order and how we can fix it no matter what tool you're in. So here we go. We're inside Pinegrow here. And as I rightly said, on the left-hand side, I've kind of set this up like Webflow, just so it's a little bit more familiar. In fact, let's just increase the size of this. I really can't remember why I did it like this, but there was a reason. But regardless, let's now start to just move this around and make it into something that actually makes sense. The first thing being is that we just want this basically to be inside of this middle column. So let's just minimize, we can maximize that one. So let's see what happens when we drag that in there. So here we go. The problem is now that this has moved these two down. So let's just clear that up and think about how we might be able to move these and create that space that we need to. So I'm just using Tailwind now to create my space. Of course, you can do this with Webflow and actually setting your size that you want, but because I'm using Tailwind, I'm just using classes. So we're still not there yet. So let's try padding top 12 and moving 10. And that looks about right. And that's the beautiful thing about Tailwind is everything is relative to each other. So if you're using certain paddings, they all kind of, it's like Lego. Everything's got a size to it. So they kind of interconnect with each other, which is great. So let's do that for the second one here. So it was padding top 12. And now we're starting to see. So now recommended is actually part of quarterly. So a screen reader would read monthly and then it will go to recommended quarterly there. And what I probably want to do now is wrap this in a div. So insert div, and then let's make that text center. And there we go. We've fixed that. Let's have a look at mobile just to see what's going on here. I've already duplicated that thing here. So let's just remove that and correct some of these classes. So we want probably, this is how you target a breakpoint in Tailwind. So we only want to do text center on the medium breakpoint. Otherwise, we just want it to go left. So we do this, just flick between them, recommended in the middle there, and recommended there. So we now know if we were to save this, go into our preview. So now it's starting to clean up. We haven't got an extra recommended thing at the top there. And then it's at its correct point down here. So we're getting somewhere. Here's me just going through and cleaning things up again. I don't really need to show you all this stuff. Now let's deal with these because once again, these are in their own row. So what I actually know is that in the mobile version, this is the correct HTML that we want. We just want that to extend. What I'm doing, I'm hiding these, showing a row that exists on the bottom. So what we can do is I'm just gonna delete that entirely and then find our button. So you can see that MD hidden, which is the class that's ruining it all for us. If we scroll down, we'll see MD hidden. We've got our links there. Select those two, remove that class, MD hidden. So what we should see is exactly what we want. Let me think about these. I guess it's the height as well that we wanted to maintain. So got to think how we're going to do that. Might even end up putting an empty li in here. Here's me just cleaning things up, but also adding a wrapping div around the content and giving that a border so that I can maintain the original design. So this is perfect. So really now it's just that spacing that we need to compensate for below here. So let's see what a border does. A margin, sorry. So it's not quite lining up there. So what I might do, it's not the nicest if I remove this text. I'm going to go visibility hidden and see what this does. Invisible. Okay, perfect. Do that. Remove the text. Visibility invisible. Now we could go a step further and add an area role to this. Area hidden. True. And this will help that. And then we might as well remove that font bold class. Okay, I think that is it. Mobile version, which looks as we want it. And by using exactly the same code, which is always nice because you want to be able to remove code. The more code you can remove, the better. So flicking between the live version and my version, you can see there's a little bit of space that needs to be fixed here and here, and then also just at the bottom there as well. But ultimately, the order is as it should be. And I can just go in, tidy this up and all the rest of it, but the order is what's most important, and I've finally fixed this module. So I hope that was helpful in explaining the document order. Until next time, happy no coding.